Well, welcome to another episode of Rural Strong Live. It's great to have you with us. Tonight, it's our honor to welcome in Rob Aldridge, namesake and frontman of Rob Aldridge and The Proponents. They're a great band with roots in Muscle Shoals and Huntsville, Alabama. They got a new album out that's attracting a lot of attention here, and we're going to tell you about that in a bit. But first of all, Rob, welcome into the program.
Yeah, man. Happy to be here.
How you been?
I'm hanging in there, man. Hanging in there, trying to be a rock star and be a dad and do all the regular stuff too.
It's a lot, man. I'm right there with you. It's a lot, but it's one day at a time, right?
Yep. That's all you can do.
Well, you got a great new album out here, and we're going to talk about that in a bit here. How does it feel to have this one out the door?
Whoo, buddy. This one took a lot. Took a lot out of me. Took a lot
Right.
out of my wife. We're not on a big label or anything. We did almost all of it ourselves, and it's people don't know how much goes into that, and I don't even think we realized what we were getting into either.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, coming off of not even coming off of, we're still in a pandemic, and it's just been a rough few years for everybody. But we've also had our own personal uh, hardships, and so yeah, having it out though, it's a big weight lifted. It feels. Uh, I told a friend the other day, it's like I almost don't even really know what to do now because it's like it consumed our lives for more than a year.
Right. Right. Well, and you've been on kind of a cadence between what you've done on solo albums and what you've done here with the band here, putting out one about every other year, though, huh?
Trying to, I like to get things down, at least recorded, if not recorded and released. Sort of like I feel like I get backed up. I like to write more songs. I've got to get the ones I've written down and
Right.
have them out there.
So when you come out of these things, I mean, do you try to write to fill up an album, or do you come away with more stuff left in the cupboard here that you could fill more albums with?
Uh, you know, During the process of once the record was done, we finished it almost a year ago. Most of this past year has just been getting ready to put it out, I guess, getting our ducks in a row. But I've been writing a lot. Yeah, I try to always have some songs ready to go for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, I tell you what, before we get too much into it, because I want to get into the backstory of the band and a bit about that whole music creation process and about the new music. But before we do, would you share some music with us?
Sure, man. You want me to play one? All right, this song's from the record. Woo. It's called Twisted Blanket. I don't know if y'all want to see my finger picking, but it ain't nothing too fancy. Well, he asked her how she's feeling, as if she can't, and that's his point. Probably what she's feeling now is everything at once. But she makes it to her car while the smoke still hangs in the air. Loves her twisted blanket, it always leaves her cold somewhere. But down here, she'd rather be cold all over. Down here, warm hearts make you older. So she'd rather be cold all over. She'd rather be cold all over than to fall in love down here. Well, she's busted ass for what she's got.
since she burned everything she had. Some Woody Allen movie really got her mad. She's worn a hole right through her subfloor. Boys, tears and blank stares. Loves her twisted blanket. It always leaves her cold somewhere. But down here, she'd rather be cold all over. Down here, warm hearts make you older. So she'd rather be cold all over. She'd rather be cold all over. She'd rather be cold, rather be cold, rather be cold. Well, she'd rather be cold all over. She'd rather be cold all over. She'd rather be cold, rather be cold, rather be cold all over than to fall in love down here. She's the blue amongst black and white. When it's right, it's never fair. Loves her twisted blanket. It always leaves her cold somewhere.
That's beautiful, Rob.
Thank you, man. Oh,
Great stuff, man. I know you were mentioning earlier just some of the personal trials and tribulations that you guys have gone through. For folks who are unfamiliar with Rob Aldridge and the Proponents, last April, your childhood friend and bassist Stone Anderson died from an accidental drug overdose at age 27. When that happened, the new album was already in the works, and I know that folks can hear Stone playing on it. Was there a resolve to make sure that this came out to honor him?
oh, of course, yeah. I think if the first day we went into mix, it was not long after he had passed, and we were like checking out his bass parts isolated, and it was powerful stuff, having to do that. But me and Jay Burgess, who produced the record and mixed it for us, who was also a great friend of Stone's, we just kind of went through it together, and we both just, you know, tightened up and got it done. And,
Mhm.
we knew we wanted to push it as hard as we could to get it in as many ears as we could. And it was just what we had to do.
Did his death cause everyone else in the group to take inventory of their own lives, or, figure out where you wanted to go with the band?
Um, yeah, he was living with our drummer at the time. Uh, so, our drummer was there in the thick of it, when it all went down. But yeah, I think a lot of people maybe tried to just better themselves personally, rethink a lot of things, more important things than being in a band. Like personally, I quit drinking about 6 months ago. Uh, just made different choices, based maybe kind of influenced, not directly, but just all of us trying to be better. But yeah, I mean, we definitely wanted to keep the band going, and luckily we had Matt Ross step in Stone's place because we had shows booked with Jason Isbell coming up, and we didn't want to have to cancel anything, and so we all kind of dug deep.
Mhm. Was it cathartic at all to kind of move away from some of that and get into the music and just kind of use it as an escape too?
Yeah, for sure. I thought I definitely thought there were a few moments in a few songs where there's like little things that would happen between me and Stone that really only me and him probably noticed that we did together, while playing. And I was kind of worried about getting to those points in the songs, like in a show. But once I did it, and it is bizarre. I had a conversation with Matt, or the guy who's playing bass with us now, and he was, because I'd said in another interview, it's just really weird. And he's like, "Is there anything I can do to make it not weird?" And I was like, "You're not doing anything wrong." He seriously couldn't be doing anything better than he is. It's just looking over and him not being there, but it is like such a big therapeutic thing to be able to play these songs at all. Like now that we've been doing shows again, I can't imagine not being able to play these songs anymore, so I'm glad we stuck with it.
Well, I was asking you about your New Holland ball cap here before we got on the show here tonight, and you told me that was one of his ball caps, and he's a friend from childhood, man. What are some of the fondest memories that you take away from your time with him?
Oh man, I met him when he was like 3. I'm a little older than he is, but I was 9 or 10 at the time. And then I'd see him around. I knew his dad. I was friends with his dad before. His dad played with Brother Kane in the '90s. He currently the guitar player for Atlanta Rhythm Section and was a hero of mine. Uh, but me and Stone reconnected later on when he was maybe 15 or 16. He showed up at this house party I was at, and he was dressed all preppy, um, and I remember thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna mess with this kid." I know his dad. He's younger than me, and I can't even remember exactly what I said. I was just picking on him. Man, he dished it right back at me before I could even think. Man, that's how he was. Man, he was so quick witted, and he only got more dangerous as he got older and
Uh,
smart. And but yeah, just there's countless stories. We spent a lot of time together, but more than anything, he was just hilarious.
so to go back for people who might not be familiar with the band, tell us about the story of Rob Aldridge and the Proponents. How did the band come together, and what kind of goals did you set for yourselves early on?
Um, well, me and Rob Malone, the lead guitar player, he was we had started playing acoustic shows together, just the two of us. That's really kind of how everything started. And then a we had another band actually with Matt Ross, who's currently playing with our band, called Fatso, and we were just a cover band. And we did a lot of different stuff, everything from Conway Twitty to Steely Dan to, I mean, we were just a weird rock and roll band. But me and Malone always wanted to uh, just make like a good old fashioned 4-piece rock band where, you know, put 4 guys in a room, no reverb, no special effects, like just go in there and hammer out some in your face rock songs. And it took a few years before we made that first Proponents record come true, but Stone was around hanging out. His dad was producing my uh, first official solo record, Anything and Everyone. So Stone was around, and after that was done, I needed a bass player, and Dave said, "Why don't you get Stone to do it?" Little did I know, Stone did not play bass. So, uh, the only thing that saved Stone was, you know, we had a show booked, and um, we went to rehearsals for it, and we quickly realized Stone couldn't play bass. And so I called his dad, and I was like, "Look, man, we don't have time to get another bass player before this show. Like, help me out." So he basically just took Stone into a room and hit his hand with a ruler until he learned how to play bass. And then he was in the band. He was great. He didn't miss a note after that. That's how good he was, you know. And so then we were off to the races from there.
So tell me about the other members of the band. You mentioned Rob Malone, who formerly spent some time with the Drive-By Truckers. Also, Nick Riccio, who was with the Great Peacock on drums,
Yeah.
and now Matt Ross here. Tell me about each one of those guys and what they bring to the table.
Well, Nick, I've known Nick since we're the same age. We grew up together. our dads are close friends. We've known each other since 5th or 6th grade. Uh, I know he wasn't on our first Proponents record. We had a different drummer at that time who decided he wanted to go a different direction. But yeah, Nick stepped in at a perfect time for us. And you know, like I said, Matt Ross is actually uh, in a band with Rob Malone. Like when I was a baby, called the Fiddleworms. They're a local Shoals band. It's been around for a long time, and so they go way back. And then I also had the connection with Matt Ross, so it was kind of a no-brainer to bring him in after Stone passed.
We'd be remiss if we didn't mention here contributions on this album from cellist Caleb Elliott and also violinist Kimmy Sampson.
Yes, yes, that was a really fun day. That's the first record I had strings on, and in addition to being mega talented, they're super fun, awesome people.
So when did you get bit by the music bug and what did that look like?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, my father is a really talented singer and picks a little guitar, and so music was always around. There was a record collection, a huge CD collection, and I just really I spent a lot of time by myself. You know, my dad raised me for the most part by himself. I never really knew my mom, so I was home a lot on my own, and I listened to music all the time. And
Uh-huh.
then I was always around his buddies who played, and he played, and uh, he would take me to see Stone's dad when I was a kid. He'd take me to the bar and hear him play. And one night, my dad told him that I'd been messing with it some, and you know, I was probably 13. I shouldn't have been in there, but Dave got me up to play, and and it was the first time I was in front of a microphone. It was the first time I sang in front of anyone. My dad didn't know I was singing, and I played these songs, and Dave was impressed, and he actually gave me that guitar.
Wow.
And so I guess that was probably the moment where I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, this is what I want to do."
What kind of songs were you playing then?
Oh Lord, I think I did "Redemption Song" by Bob Marley or something, and I don't know, some cheesiness for sure, but um, I don't know. It wasn't too embarrassing, but I can't remember exactly what it was. I always liked older stuff, you know, even when I was a kid, because that's all my dad had was 60s, 70s R&B and things like that.
Right. So when did you start writing songs and how do you use songwriting now as an outlet in your life?
Um, I honestly, I don't really remember a time I wasn't writing songs. I guess I was probably 11 or 12 before I actually like put something together that I intended to keep. But it's kind of funny, even when I was a little kid, like I had toys that would play music, and I remember making up words and my own melodies to the music that my toys made. And it's kind of funny. My daughter's 6 years old, and she does the same thing. It's really weird, and she can sing. But I would say probably after I learned how to play guitar at about 12 or 13 did I actually put a little more structure to it.
So tell me about this whole Alabama connection, particularly in Muscle Shoals, because there's such a musical history there. A, how exciting was it to be putting your own imprint on that musical legacy? And B, did you feel any added pressure because you were following so many great artists there, or did it give you any kind of extra swagger, or just what does coming out of the Muscle Shoals area mean to a musician?
Um, honestly, I don't feel any sort of swagger gained by it. I mean, if you're here and you're new, then you know you're a drop in the ocean. It feels
Right.
like there's so much rich history and current events going on. I just saw where Bernard Purdy was in the studio that played with Steely Dan and
Right.
Rolling Stones, everybody. But yeah, and there's so many legends. But it really, I don't know. I don't really think of it like that too much because everyone here is very familial and supportive of each other. Everyone's friends. There's not really any kind of competition.
Mhm.
Because I mean, hell, most of those guys, how are you going to compete with them anyway? But everyone is very supportive of original music for sure. Um, I wish there were a few more venues to play at here. But I did notice, I moved here in 2006, and I did notice when I would go back to Huntsville where I grew up, um, people kind of did feel a little differently towards me because I was a part of the Muscle Shoals scene. If people look at it and it's just, I don't know if it's a grass is greener on the other side, but I don't know. Being in it, you sort of get used to it, I guess. Not that I'm used to it. It's just, I don't know. I'm a part of it, I guess.
Right. So are there certain people that you've been able to kinda latch on to kinda learn from that have taken you under their wing that, have kinda helped you raise your game along the way?
Um, Totally. I mean, I guess initially I was under a publishing deal with Jimmy Nutt, who owns a wonderful studio called the Nut House. Ended up doing that's where we cut our first Proponents record. Um, there's a lot of people along the way. Jay Burgess, who produced the record, even though we're pretty close in age, I mean, he grew up around here. That's one thing that's different with me than a lot of these people are. A lot of these people were born here and they've been here a lot longer than me. And even though I've been here like 15 years, I still kind of get treated like an outsider to some degree. But Jay and those guys in the polys and stuff, they really they make me feel at home. And lots of good friends, guys like Kelvin Holly, wonderful guitar player, played with Little Richard and Neil Young, I think Peggy Young. Uh, he's a great guy, and they just treat you like you're one of the guys, and that it sounds simple, but it means a lot.
Right. So you mentioned that first album. Tell me about the path to that first studio album, which was self-titled in 2018. How long had the group been together before you started working on that?
Uh, the Proponents were officially, oh, sorry about that. Were officially put together in 2016, and we started fleshing out um, 8 of the songs that are on that record for a few years, and then 2 of them we wrote like while we were in the studio because we needed to fill out the record. But for the most part, we were really comfortable with those songs because we'd been playing them live and getting a feel for that energy that we wanted on the record. And so yeah, 2016 though I guess is officially when we announced we are Rob Aldridge and the Proponents.
Uh, and, after that first album comes out, oftentimes artists gauge the response it gets, and then it either lights a fire under them that kind of propels them to do greater things, or they realize that maybe they're just better off as a touring act, or they kind of fade off into nothing. What did that first album do for you guys?
Nothing. Not a damn thing. I mean, we definitely for a lot of people who'd followed my work before that, from because I mean I've been playing shows and writing stuff since I was a teenager, and I think there were a lot of people who kept up with me. I say a lot. I mean a lot for me at the time, but uh, they were used to me writing songs a certain way, and uh, everything I'd put out had been songs I'd written when I was a teenager, and this record was sort of more current with who I was, and it was a little polarizing to some people, who are used to me uh, kind of having more of a candy wrapped uh, vibe to my music, and then we came out with a straight up punk rock tune on like I think it's like the second or third track, it's just in your face. But yeah, so I mean, if anything, it prepared people to expect the unexpected from us.
Well, you mentioned you also put out a couple solo albums, with the last being All Along After All in
Mhm.
2020. What's the difference between Rob Aldridge, the solo artist, and Rob Aldridge, who fronts the Proponents?
Those songs were just the Proponents kind of have a vibe, and I don't want them to just play the songs that I write. I want everybody to enjoy playing them and take a little ownership in the parts. And I think those songs that were on All Along After All were just not Proponent songs. Malone, didn't dig him that much when I initially played him for him, see what he thought. And so I just kind of sat on him for a while, and I loved my buddies, the Pollies. I thought they were a great band, and they were a great studio band for other people. I saw what they did with Dylan LeBlanc. They were his backing band for a while, and just really, in my opinion, stepped up his game a lot. And so I sort of left him. I didn't put a whole lot of structure to those songs. I just sort of brought them in as blank canvases almost, and let those guys do whatever they wanted to do. It was kind of an experiment. And so it was fulfilling, and it was something I wanted to try and do. And yeah, the only difference is in those songs and Proponent songs is it just didn't feel right to make the Proponents do it.
Right. And you dropped that album in 2020, right as a pandemic was setting in there. You didn't really get a chance to get out and support it or do much with it.
Oh, no. Well, I think our reasoning behind that was, the Pollies were busy. I was busy with the Proponent. We kind of felt like, when would we ever even have time to really do that? But we've talked about doing a tour like with the Pollies and the Proponents, and then maybe like to open the show, me and the Pollies could do like those 5 songs, but we hadn't quite put that one together yet. But yeah, maybe there could have been a better time to release that record. But
I like that,
man. It was 2020.
I like that idea, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of people listening to this that would be down with that.
Yeah, man. We've done shows together before. I did that record, and we always have a great time. Those guys are like my brothers.
Well, I tell you what, we've been chatting for a while here. Before we go any further, will you play another one for us?
Absolutely, man. You got any requests?
No, none off the top of my head, man. Whatever.
All right. Let me think here. I'm gonna try this one out. It's got some hard singing in it, but see if I can get there.
Tell me if I'm getting this right. I'm falling off the couch to hear you say I gotta be out tonight. I suppose the wait was worse than the fear. Tell me I'm right. Let's mix it up, the kicks for spite. You told me not to call you at night, and I had no reply because I love you. And now I bet she's just standing there, gnawing on a piece of the truth. In a lot of ways, I'm just standing here, I'm searching for something to make her happy. Maybe something she could carry. You gotta want it more than me. Look at you just itching to change shit up. You've overflowed to fill your cup, trying to show the whole town you're fine, but they hate your reasons why. And I still love you, but no, I bet she's just standing there, burning bad pictures of me. In a lot of ways, I'm just waiting here for something to jar free. Something to make her happy. Maybe something she could carry. You gotta want it more than me. Hit me up for a lunch break in the pub. Put me down make this tough. I know you'll remember like I do. I'm searching for something make her happy. Maybe something she could carry. You gotta want it more than me. You gotta want it more than me. Could you want it more than me?
Oh, mighty fine job hitting those high notes.
I should have thought about that one a little bit before I did.
Oh, that's great, man. Good stuff.
Well, thank you.
So as we said earlier, the new album Mind Over Manners was released last week. 12 songs that take the listeners on quite a journey. And that album was recorded at Studio 144 in Green Hill, Alabama, about 20 miles northeast of Muscle Shoals, the hometown of the Secret Sisters and Jason Isbell. What can you tell us about the vibe there, and what were those sessions like?
Oh man, I love it up there. You know, I've recorded in a lot of really nice, wonderful studios with really great people. You know, but one thing that I always kind of struggled with, through no fault of anybody that worked at the studio, but it's just kind of hard to get comfortable and sometimes for me, and maybe get my best performance captured. For whatever reason, it's just anxiety, nervousness on my own part. But Studio 144, it's not just a studio; it's like where me and my friends hang out. And I mean, it's always been a studio, but a lot of nights it's just a cool clubhouse, and you can smoke in there, you can cuss in there, you can. I don't know. It's comfortable. I'm just in there with my friends. One of my best friends runs the board, Jay Burgess, and so there was just zero anxiety as far as recording there goes.
And that's what music should be about, right? Having fun.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Well, you talk about Jay Burgess. What was the process like working with him creatively? How did you guys collaborate?
Uh, we sort of have we have different preferences, I think, on a lot of things. But sometimes maybe when we meet in the middle, it's just for whatever reason, it's just the right amount of both approaches, and he also is really good about telling me when I'm doing something well that I don't realize I'm doing well. Like a lot of times I'll overthink, like a vocal track or something. Like I'll think I need to go back and recut that, and he's very good at showing me like, hey, no, like what you're doing when you just play it live and sing it at the same time, that's your best take. It's got the most feeling. You don't need to overthink this too much. It's easy to get sucked into being a perfectionist, which is ironic because I love records that have the warts and all,
Right.
and that live feel. But for whatever reason in the studio, I don't trust myself. I hear it differently.
Well, you talk about earlier in your career having one style of music, and then kind of with some of this newer music having more of an edge to it, so to speak. And you start out here with a cut that kind of hits listeners between the eyes right off the bat. Mind Over Manners, which deals with the calls for civil justice and whatnot through. What we saw touched off in the summer of 2020, with the deaths of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. And as we do this interview, I'm sitting in the Louisville, Kentucky area, just a few miles from where Breonna Taylor died. And
Oh, wow.
also, so remember sitting there watching our city just torn up by rioters and looters, and watching some of the places that I've worked in become, just torn up. and saw images that as long as I lived, I never ever would have imagined seeing here in our hometown. Where were you when all that was going down, and how were you processing that, and how were you able to kind of just express yourself through this song?
Yeah, I mean, I was home like a lot of people were at the time, home with the kids, and I remember kind of trying to keep it on the TV in the back to keep up with what was going on and maybe not expose the kids too much to it. But at the same time, we did let them watch quite a bit of stuff, and tried to explain to them as best we could. Um, I just, it reminded me, the struggle that they've been going through. It reminded me of a class I took in college on post-colonialism, and a quote from a book was referring to like a colonized people, where even if they're stuck in an eternal state of beginnings, trying to fit in with their new world and things like that. And it's not a direct relation to racism in America, but I could sort of feel that vibe off of this. They've been fighting for so long, against the same thing, and still, we're seeing the same stuff happen over and over and over again. And I don't think it was just the death of George Floyd or just the death of Breonna Taylor. It's a culmination of thousands and thousands, millions of incidents, and and change that hasn't come. And you know, this song really came out when uh, I heard some people who were against it all talking about, basically discrediting the whole thing because of the riots that were a byproduct of the marches and things like that, saying that, if they're, that to hell with them, they're rioting, that's not okay. And in my mind, I was thinking, what the hell else do you expect? I can't believe they're all not rioting at this point. It's just, they've gone through so much, and they have to feel like they're in a corner. And that's just my perspective, though. Obviously, I have no, I can't imagine what a Black American's experience is like in this country. But so this song was strictly just my perspective and a message to other white people who maybe disagreed with the whole BLM.
Mhm. Are you hoping, from out of this, it'll open up some healthy dialogue?
I hope so. That's the thing. We got to keep talking about it because I've said in a few other interviews, and not to be too repetitive, but I think would be surprised to find that most of racism, the word itself implies like a malicious intent, whereas I think the majority of it, and the really hard stuff to get beyond, is racism is a lot of it is just ignorance. I mean, not saying that white people are stupid, but it's something that's hard for us to grasp, or hard for a lot of people to grasp. All the little ways that racism occurs, and but the only way to fight that is to talk about it.
Right.
Put it out there. Don't be afraid to ask questions, but uh, be open to the answers. Listen with the intent to take it in, not just the intent to respond.
All right. And since you're out there ripping off Band-Aids here on this album, another topic you tackle here is toxic relationships. I know that caught a lot of people's attention here, the song "Poor Taste." What kind of place did this song come from for you?
Oh, uh, a lot of times, I mean, there's always some personal experience in songs. For me, just like a lot of married couples, me and my wife have had ups and downs, but that has to be in there to keep it authentic. But I take a lot from what I see in other places too. Be it friends or family who are going through similar stuff, and just try and put as many different perspectives as I can on it from where I'm sitting. But yeah, nothing really specific for that one. Just sort of something I felt like a lot of people could understand.
Well, I tell you what, we've got the video queued up for that one here, and I'm gonna roll that here so folks can check it out. What can we expect out of this video here?
Oh man, that was we did that in about 2 hours with me and Wanda and my friend Corey. Like we needed some kind of video, and it had to be done like a month sooner than we thought it had to be done. And so yeah, we just went to this old playground next to a cemetery in Huntsville, Alabama, called Dead Children's Playground. We used
That's catchy.
yeah, we used to go up there and as kids and screw around, but yeah, so that it was just kind of funny. I mean, we just did what we did with what we had, and so it's a little goofy, but it was a heck of a lot of fun.
I'm gonna roll this for everybody to check out now. This is Poor Taste.
Did I think I could hide what you found? I was always better at dogging around. Well, so I'm a clown again. Yeah, more like you made yourself a friend. This ain't no kind of time to make amends. gotta let me go. No, you gotta let me go. You gotta let me go. No, you gotta let me go. Honey, please just let me go. Oh, please let me go. Oh, please just let me go. Oh, please let me go. No, I won't let you go. I won't let you go. Oh, please just let me go. No, I won't let you go. Oh, please just let me go.
Good stuff there.
Oh, it was
The
fun.
the switchblade comb, that takes me back to about 4th grade, getting one of those at the flea market.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna have a hard time finding one, but I just like the first place I went into, I was like, "Y'all got any switchblade combs?" And they were just like, "Yeah, here they are." I was
Wow.
like, "Awesome."
I haven't seen one of those in ages. I'm looking in the wrong spot, I guess. So on the album, you have another song on there, "Devil on Sunday," which Gary Nichols, formerly the Steel Drivers, contributed some lyrics to. Tell us about that song.
Uh, I guess in a way, it was sort of indirectly inspired by some friends of mine who battled with uh, various drug addictions. A couple in particular with heroin, and uh, it's really. I had a roommate who was really bad off on it, and I had to move out. But luckily today he's doing great. He's gotten cleaned up. He's married. He's got kids, and I think he owns his own lawn care business. He's doing really well. Luckily, but I've lost some friends too, and some of them are still alive. You know, but yeah, it was sort of um, just use some knowledge from those experiences with people, and I personally have never tried it. I don't really want to. I've seen enough horrible things because of it. So, but yeah, it's just sort of a glance and maybe an insider view of how that can go down for people.
So what do you hope people will take away from this album as a whole when they listen to it?
Uh, you gotta you gotta keep hope. Maybe try again. The song this time on there, I think, really kind of is carries the torch of hope from a lot of dark subjects on the record. But every day is a new day, every month's a new month, or every year's a new year. Uh, Wherever you gotta start from, just start. You know.
With that said, how does this album set the stage for what Rob Aldridge and the Proponents looks like going forward? I mean, how you write, how you build what you hope the legacy would be for the band and so forth.
I just want to be able to keep going. I think um, there's always going to be logistical nightmares with putting it together. Some tours. Obviously Matt Ross never knew he was going to be in this band, so we might have some snags there with his day job as far as hitting the road. But yeah, I mean, we just want to keep going is really all it is, and I just want to keep making music and be able to keep the lights on.
Well, you just need to hurry up and get big so he can quit that job, right?
Right? Yeah,
That's
that's
it,
right.
man. That's all you gotta do.
It's funny. He's had that same job for like I don't know, as long as I've known him. I've known him a long time, and I've never known a musician who had the same job for more than a few months. And it's like he's going on 20 years at the same place. It's like, are you not running it yet?
Man, well, that's that says something about a person to stick in one place that long. That's dedication.
Yeah, yeah, something.
So, so any kind of touring plans or much on the books here for 22 so far?
Uh, we just got some little 1 and 2s offs here and there. We I'd reached out to some friends in various cities. It seemed like when I was really trying to get us out there on the road, COVID was sort of rearing its head again, and
Right.
so really, I mean, all my contacts kind of told me to shoot for a little later in the year than what we hoped for. Uh, like Chicago, for instance, was really hoping to get up there. I haven't played there yet, and uh, they were just shutting places down left and right. It's kind of
Right.
hard to get a show booked, but we got little stuff going on. If y'all want to keep up with me online, I'll keep you abreast to it.
I know your PR representation is out of Nashville. Do you guys do much up that way?
We've done some basement shows and little things here and there. It's kind of a tough town to get into. I know I got a lot of friends up there, but uh, I don't know. Just it's usually they don't pay very well, and there's so many bands up there. And I've had a
Right.
lot of friends from there move to the Shoals just to kind of get away from it. But I mean, I don't know. I hadn't played much there, but I love the town. I mean, I
Right.
always have a good time when I go and when we do get to play.
Well, you mentioned following you guys. If folks want to download the music or keep up with the latest developments from the band, where do they go to do that?
It's available everywhere you stream. Obviously, we would appreciate people purchasing it however they can. And then if you want to follow, I like Instagram better than anything else. But you can keep up with me at RA_proponents. Or maybe it's the Proponents. I don't know. But look up Rob Aldridge The Proponents. You'll see it. How many
Just
bands are called it?
Google it. It's 2022. Just hit Google. You'll find it.
It's out there for sure. But yeah, I hope some new people will come check us out because of this.
Matter of fact, we got the website right there. I got it right on the bottom of the screen. So
There you go.
push pause and jot that down and go check them out. And Rob, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us here tonight, and want to invite you to come back anytime you want to share new music.
I appreciate it, Brent. Yeah, this is cool. Thanks for having me. I hope I did okay. I hope it sounded all right.
That was awesome, man. And I just really appreciate you being generous with the time tonight.
No problem at all. Thank you, man.
And I want to thank everybody else for joining us tonight. I want to invite you to subscribe to the Tractors and Troubadours podcast, where each week we bring you agriculture industry newsmakers, hot button industry issues, educational topics, outdoor lifestyle features, and the best in traditional country music. The Tractors and Troubadours podcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Deezer, Audible, Odyssey, and now on the new Samsung free app. So we'd be honored if you would subscribe, give us a rating, leave us a comment, do all that good stuff so we can reach as many people as possible with that content. We'd also be honored if you'd pay a visit to our brand new website, ruralstrongmedia.com. It features the Tractors and Troubadours podcast, as well as live streams, educational blogs, and our 24/7 internet radio station, Rural Strong Radio, which is featuring traditional country music, even a little folk, bluegrass, southern rock, and some inspirational music, in addition to our original ag content. So I hope you go check all that out. Again, the place to find it is ruralstrongmedia.com. We want to
Yeah.
thank our sponsors tonight, conceptagritech.com, Gateway Seed, and goatlifeclothing.com. Well, friends and neighbors, the clock on the wall tells us it's time to get on out of here. So for now, it's Brent Adams. Let's meet up here again soon, shall we? And hey, bring along a friend.